this video we're going to be looking at evaluating expressions. So the first thing we want to cover is this. Let's say that, well, let's call this the substitution property. Okay. Now, let's say that A equals B. Here's what that basically means. It pretty much means we can replace, so A may be replaced by B in any expression. All right, seems pretty easy to follow, I hope. So here's what that means for us. If you want to evaluate an expression, all you have to do, it's very simple, and you can write this down or not. We're going to substitute the variables that we have, or any variables that we have, with their given values. So with their given values. All right, seems pretty easy to follow. Let's look at some problems. All right, let's say I gave you a squared b minus b squared. Okay, and then I come over here to the left or to the right and I say, okay, a is equal to 3 and b is equal to 4. Actually, b is equal to -4. Okay, now the first thing we have to do is identify a couple things. When you see two letters written beside each other, two variables written beside each other, there's multiplication happening in between those. Or, here's what I would do. Anytime you replace or substitute, put that in parentheses, okay? So, make sure you put parentheses around anything you substitute. So, put parentheses when substituting. I'll just say subbing. That way, we can actually, or I'll just say when sub period, which will mean substitution, okay? So put anything that you're substituting in parentheses. So here's what it would look like. If A is actually 3, it means I can take this 3 and I can just substitute it in for this A. So I can say 3, but once again, I want to put that in parentheses because it's being substituted. Then I just have to carry down my exponent, my power, which is squared or 2, and then we're done with A. So then now B. Once again, if -4 is B, we're just going to take -4 and replace this B with -4. So put that in parentheses, -4. Then we're finished with that part. Now we have our minus sign, and then B once again is -4. So we're going to replace B with -4, but put it in parentheses. And then we're going to carry down our 2, which is our exponent. Now, a couple mistakes can happen here. A lot of times I see people say, well, I see minus a negative, so that has to mean that this becomes plus and plus. But that's not true, because now we have to follow our order of operations. And essentially, since this -4 is in parentheses squared, it's going to become positive. Okay, so let's start with that because that's the part I see messed up most often. When I do -4 squared, that's like saying -4 times -4. So any number squared's always got to be positive. So this is actually positive 16. So it's going to give me 16, but then when I bring down this negative sign, it becomes -16. Or the minus sign, it becomes, -16. Okay, so now let's go over here once again. Order of operation says I need to do these exponents first. So I need to say 3 squared before I ever do 3 times -4. And 3 squared is going to give me 9. So this is actually 9. Then we bring down our -4, and we have 9 times -4. Now, 9 times -4 is going to be done before I do the subtraction here, because once again, order of operations. And if you haven't seen that video, I'd go back and rewatch it if you need to, or go back and watch it for the first time if you haven't. All right, so now 9 times -4 is -36. We'll bring down -16. And then we're going to have our answer. -36 minus 16 is going to give us, actually, where did my example go? negative, oh, it's going to give us negative 52. Okay, my bad. I skipped around a second on my notes, so I got a little lost. Okay, so that's a really good example to look at. Let's look at a few more, because we can actually do this one pretty quickly, I think. I want to give you a couple. I want to give you a couple of harder examples so that you can see some weird things that happen. But let me give you one more just to give you an idea how this works. Let's try this. Let's try 3x squared minus 4x. And your job is to tell me what's this equal to when x is equal to, let me find it, negative 2. All right, so see if you can do this one. Now, once again, if x is equal to negative 2, that means this x becomes negative 2, and so does this one. But once again, I want to make sure I put that in parentheses. So let's start from the beginning. 3, and then in parentheses, I'm going to put negative 2. That's replacing this x. And then I'll bring down my exponent, bring down our minus sign, 4, then I'm going to put my negative 2 in parentheses again. Because now you can see we have to do this exponent first. So before we do 3 times negative 2, or before we do 4 times negative 2, we want to do this exponent first. So 3, and then what's negative 2 squared? Some people will say negative 4, and that's close. It's actually positive 4. Because once again, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive. Okay? Then minus, now we can actually go ahead and do this. Since we've already done this part, we can go ahead and knock this part out. 4 times negative 2 is positive 8, and then this minus sign comes down to make, I messed that up. Totally messed that up. Is negative 8, and then we bring down our minus sign, which creates minus a negative, which is going to become plus 8. There we go. That looks way better. All right. Now, multiplication comes before addition. So 3 times 4 gives me 12. And I have plus 8, which gives me 20. And now I'm finished. All right. Let's do one more, just so I can try to trick you. All right. Let's do negative y squared minus 3xy. And I want to know what is this equivalent to, or what's this evaluated when x is equal to negative 4 and y is equal to 2. All right. Now, once again, here's why I emphasize the parentheses so much. Let's start from the beginning. Negative y squared. The y is going to be replaced with 2, but I want to put that in parentheses. Here's why. That negative is not in parentheses with 2. So you have to make sure you write that correctly or else you'll get it confused. So once again, the negative is not in the parentheses with 2. Okay? So then we bring down our negative or our minus sign. We have 3. Now we're going to replace x with negative 4. And we're going to put that in parentheses. Times, or y, is now going to become a parentheses with 2 in it. Okay, so now watch what happens when I do this. So first we have to do any exponents, which is going to be our exponent 2. 2 squared is 4. But this negative, once again, was on the outside of that. So that negative actually comes down no matter what. It doesn't matter if this became, I don't know, 16 or 49. It doesn't matter. Since this negative one's on the outside of the parentheses, it stays on the outside. That's why the parentheses is so important. All right. Then we have our minus sign. Let's bring that down. We're going to say 3 times negative 4, which is going to give me negative 12. And then negative 12 times 2 is going to give me negative 24. So I have minus negative 24. And hopefully you can see, well, minus a negative just becomes plus 24. So this is negative 4 plus 24, which is going to give me 20. And I didn't really mean for that to happen, but it's kind of cool that it did happen. All right, so once again, when you are dealing with evaluating an expression, we're really just going to substitute. So substitute our variable with the correct value. So with value of the variable. Okay, it is that simple. And then we're really just doing order of operations.